Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in the video today, and we're going to be talking about a potential NFL trade that could be going down in the NFL as Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints are looking like that could be a really potential landing spot for Derek Carr. It was reported today that Derek Carr will be visiting with the Saints tomorrow, and he did get permission from the Raiders to go visit them. And also, it was also reported that the Saints are seeking for a third-round pick in return for Derek Carr, which, in my opinion, I think that's ridiculous. And I think they should get somewhere near that, but I just don't think they'll be able to get a third-round pick. But yeah, let's get into it, guys. Derek Carr, everybody knows he's a goner. Everybody knows that he will be traded, but the question is to where? The Jets have interest, a little bit of interest. The Saints are the team that are most interested. We've heard the Bucs could be interested. I think the Commanders could have some interest. The teams go on of teams that are going to be interested in Derek Carr. But the team that has made the first contact is the New Orleans Saints. And I'd like this for the Saints. I mean, they're going into a division next year that definitely is going to be one of the worst divisions in football next season. Will be the worst. For sure will be the worst division in football next season. This division is worse than the AFC South, and that's a division that holds the Houston Texans, who I'm a fan of. That's my team right there, and the Indianapolis Colts, and everybody knows about the direction they're heading into. I know the Tennessee Titans have been good in the past with Derrick Henry, but they're starting to, not be so good. The only really good part about their team right now is that they have Derrick Henry. And besides that, the rest of their team sucks. And then the only good part about the AFC South is the Jaguars, which is the only reason why the Jaguars are the only reason why the AFC South is not going to be the worst division in football next year. But I think the Saints know if they make some decent moves, and honestly, with that defense, I think they're really scary. They have some great pieces on defense. If you get the right quarterback, Derek Carr, get Chris Olave some weapons, you make some good picks in the draft. You have 2 firsts, I believe. Yeah, you have 2 firsts. You have one. Wait, no, never mind. They traded they don't have their first round pick. The Eagles have their first round pick. But they do have 1 first round pick. They have pick 30 from the Broncos in the Sean Payton trade. So you have 1 first round pick. You will have to give something up for Derek Carr. I don't think it will be a third, but I think it will be something, near. You could get something in return for Michael Thomas, for sure. I don't know what you get for him. Maybe a 6th, maybe a 5th, something like that. Even a 7th, who knows? So in that case, I think that with a draft and maybe a little bit of free agency, I think that the Saints can improve this team. And I think the Saints would definitely, if you add in Derek Carr, you make some good selections in the draft. I think if I'm the Saints in the draft, I'm definitely gonna get another wide receiver. I think Chris Olave, he's great, obviously, but had some health problems, and I think you need to add in another wide receiver to that team. I think Jarvis Landry would be great with Derek Carr as well. I think he has some good weapons. Get him a tight end in free agency. I think you definitely need to add in a tight end for Derek Carr if you do bring him in. And I think that the Saints could have a shot at the division. I don't think the Bucs really have a shot, just depending on who's their quarterback, unless Jimmy Garoppolo comes in and he's their quarterback. That's the only way I could see the Bucs having a shot to win the division. I could see the Panthers winning the division, but I just don't see it happening. Just because, Frank Wright, under his first season as the head coach and a rookie quarterback, I just don't see them winning the division. They definitely will have a lot of division titles in the years to come, but just not next year. So in that case, the Falcons, who knows what's going to happen with them, what they do. So this division is wide open, and if the Saints make some good moves, and Dennis Allen can improve in his, second-year head coach, who knows what could happen with this team. Derek Carr, he showed that he can be good in good times, and definitely showed in the Pro Bowl he was pretty good. I mean, it's not the Pro Bowl. We're not talking about the Pro Bowl game. I'm talking about the what's it called? It was the throwing challenge or whatever he did. I mean, where he got a high score or something, but I'm not talking about his high score. I'm talking about the way he was throwing the ball. His throwing motion looked way better than it did in the regular season. He even made jokes about it. And he was like, "We haven't seen you, look this good in a while." And then he said something about, "Well, that's why I'm not on the Raiders anymore." But I think that Derek Carr can really improve with the Saints next season. I think it would be a good change for him. But In that case, I think that the Saints could be one of the favorites to win the division, but I think it's like wide open. I think it's going to be a dog. Personally, I think it's going to be a dogfight between all four teams down to the end of the season. I think all are going to have similar records. So, but I think definitely you have a chance with Derek Carr. One of the problems with the Raiders, and I don't think a lot of people talk about this, a lot of blame went to Derek Carr, but what about the defense? That was something that happened a lot where the defense would choke and the defense would play horrible. Las Vegas's defense is horrible, and that's not going to be something that that happens with the Saints. So if Derek Carr starts having a good first half and they're up and they're up big like 14 or 17, it's going to be hard to come back because the Saints defense is really good. The Raiders is one of the worst in the NFL. So in my opinion, I think if Derek Carr's having a big game, it's not gonna be like it was in Las Vegas. We saw so many times, time after time, was it against the Saints too? I don't think so. So many times last season that the Raiders had a huge lead and someone came back on them. I don't think if that were to happen in New Orleans, that's not going to happen with their defense. Their defense, it's not like they're top 5. Maybe you can say top 10. I doubt top 10. Maybe, yeah, I could say maybe they're top 10. They got Cameron Jordan. They got Marshawn Lattimore. So they got a really good defense. So maybe you can say they're a top 10 defense. But in that case, I'm just thinking that if, Derek Carr, if they're up 21-10 or 24-10 or just anywhere, if they're up anywhere from 14 to 20 or something in the third quarter, I don't think there's a really good that you'd have to fight to come back just because of that Saints defense. And I think it's going to be a way different situation if Derek Carr's playing really well than it was in Las Vegas because the Raiders defense is awful. I mean, awful. I think it's one of the worst defenses in the NFL. So yeah, but you guys let me know your thoughts. I doubt that the Raiders will be able to land a third for them. That's their asking price. Sometimes, someone wants to, someone, like in, a store where people are, where you can negotiate price, a store like that, they'll list the price higher than it's worth, like that. And then you can negotiate. So I think that, that's what they're seeking is a third-round pick, but I don't think they'll be able to get it. I'm thinking they'll be able to get a fourth or a fifth. I'm leaning towards the Raiders getting a fifth-round pick, but I think the Raiders will end up getting a fourth-round pick. I do think the Raiders will be able to land a fourth-round pick for Derek Carr, and that's pretty good for a player who you obviously could have to end up cutting. So getting a fourth-round player for a player who you could have to cut if you're not able to trade him would be pretty good. But I think Derek Carr would be pretty decent on the Saints. I think it would be a better place for him to play football just with a good defense beside him. Obviously, he had great wide receivers in Las Vegas with Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, and Devontae Adams, but he also enters in a place with good wide receivers with Chris Olave, Jarvis Landry, and a potential another rookie wide receiver coming into New Orleans in this draft, and a great defense. So I like Derek Carr way better on the Saints than I do the Raiders. I think it's a way better place for him. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts, and peace out.